I'm doing a little teaching this morning. I need my handy-dandy whiteboard. I hope one of these markers work. All right. Next Sunday, I mentioned that we will have Reverend Quentin Robertson here visiting us. Pastor Q, as he is known, is the executive minister of the Philadelphia Baptist Association. I'm just going to write that right here. We call that the PBA. All right, keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to pause right here for a moment because we're going to have a just quick rudimentary lesson in American Baptist polity. Some of you are well steeped in this knowledge. You've been to seminary, you've taken the classes. You can check out for a few minutes. We'll call you back when it's... I meant stay in your seat to check out. Just close your eyes, Marcia. You're fine. If you're sitting next to one of those folks, nudge them when I say it's time. For those of you who haven't devoted years of your life to studying the bureaucracy of the American church, welcome to Baptist Polity class. I'll be your teacher, and today we are learning about American Baptist life. So, we have ABC USA. We love acronyms. We're going to learn all the letters of the alphabet today. This is the American Baptist Churches USA. Pretty straightforward. And this is our denominational body. There are nearly 5,000 ABC churches across the United States and Puerto Rico. And we make the claim of being the most diverse denomination in all aspects, racially, ethnically, theologically, politically. It's what I call our greatest blessing and our biggest curse. It is a blessing to be a part of such a diverse body, and it makes it really hard sometimes to be part of such a diverse body. American Baptists are also part of the wider Baptist world that spans the globe, and one of the organizations that sort of spans this is the globe, see, is the BWA. This is where Josh and the family, we were last week when we were in Canada at the annual gathering of the Baptist World Alliance, where Baptists from all over the world come together to worship, to discuss, to enjoy one another's fellowship, to talk about concerns in the world. A beautiful thing. Now, back to our denomination. We are divided up into 33, sometimes 34, depending who you ask, regions. Don't ask. Our 33 regions are usually geographically related, but not always. And each of these is led by an executive minister. Furthermore, many of these regions are divided up into associations. There's a reason why I didn't stay with teaching. Also, associations are smaller and mostly geographical groupings. Our current region is, ready for it? ABCO-PAD, American Baptist Churches of Pennsylvania and Delaware. Isn't that cute? Within that, our association is the CUA, Central Union Association. You can kind of think of it as our town, our state, our nation, our world, loosely. So some of you will recall within our association, several years ago, we had some discussions and debates as our association wanted to change their bylaws to be exclusive of our LGBTQ siblings. RBC was intentional of staying at the table at the time, advocating for our siblings, and standing firm in our Baptist principles. Whether or not other churches agreed with us, we agree as Baptists on these ideas of soul freedom and ultimately that we each can decide our relationship with God. And so the bylaw change was abandoned, and we remain in relationship with this association despite some theological differences. Now, here's the secret that everybody knows. much of it really matters. I mean, it matters, but as American Baptists, each of our churches are autonomous, meaning RBC decides what we want, what we believe, how we enact our beliefs in the world. No one can tell us what to do, what to believe, how to worship, who we need to hire, but our association, our region, our denomination is what helps hold us accountable to God and to one another. And it's important to maintain and nurture these relationships, to grow together, to come together for mission and seeking mutual support, challenging one another, all that good stuff that we do in community. Our autonomy is important, but choosing to affiliate with others is just as important to our witness. And it absolutely matters when it comes to calling and ordaining clergy people. When someone is ordained, they must go through a council made up of members of the association. You can be one of those members at an ordination council. And it's kind of cruel, it seems it, but the person wanting to be ordained is questioned by the council, by you folks, inviting them to reflect on their own theology and test their readiness for ordained ministry. I distinctly remember my own ordination council, where the executive minister of the region, which happened to be the PBA, it wasn't Q, it was his predecessor, and he was moderating my council. And the first thing he got when he stood up to introduce the council was to say that we were there to question, to clarify, to learn about my theology and readiness for ministry, but we were not going to debate who was called. It was a clear signal to those in attendance that the issues of women in ministry or LGBTQ people in ministry would not be something we discuss, because that's not the purpose. We are human. You may know that that's not always the case. Other regions and associations have allowed for personal vendettas and political and sociological opinions to govern their ordination councils and their decisions on who is fit to be ordained. Mainly, it comes up against those who are affirming of or who are themselves queer identifying. So why is that important? Why are we talking about this today? Why are we bringing the whiteboard out in the middle of worship? Why is Pastor Q joining us next week if he's the executive of another region? If you've tuned out now because you know about polity, come back. Marcia, Dave, come back with us. Come back. Barry, thank you. Yep. Well, the Leadership Council of RBC and our staff have been discerning and discussing our various affiliations. The beauty of Baptist principles is that we can believe and practice what we do, and our fellow churches can do the same, and we can all agree that we are living into our calling as Christians as best we know. The issues come up when one side says, you can't do that. You must believe this. ABCOPAD, our current region, has recently doubled down and reaffirmed some old statements on human sexuality with which we at RBC are in explicit disagreement. Can we go on living our best RBC lives, staying true to our call and to be the community we know God has called us to be? Probably. Like I said, the big secret is it matters, but it doesn't. The authority does not lie within the region. However, what happens when it's time to call a new pastor? I won't be here forever, friends. And we, sorry, this is news to some folks. I'm not going anywhere soon, though. Don't worry. I'm not moving anything for a while. But what happens when we want to ensure that LGBTQ clergy are equally considered? What happens when a non-binary youth group member wants to go to the regional youth retreat? What happens when we have a candidate for ordination who's openly gay? So we find ourselves in this time of discernment, learning what opportunities are available to us, asking hard questions of ourselves and our partners, listening to one another, our partners, and the Spirit, praying that God will show us the way for us to live most faithfully into our call. Which leads us to Pastor Q's visit. Q has been eager to connect with RBC since he began in this position in January. Q is a regular participant in the AWAB, let me write that one on the board. AWAB, Association of Welcoming and Affirming Baptists. Those are the folks who welcome LGBTQ and everyone into their communities. So Q has been a part of, there's a group of us that meets monthly. He's been a part of that group for a while. He's, like I mentioned, the PBA, the Philadelphia Baptist Association, which is both a region and an association. That's not for today. But it is the oldest Baptist association dating back to 1707. I know, right? Despite its name, it is not limited to just those in Philadelphia, but includes churches out in the collar counties as well as even all the way out here. First Baptist Pottstown is a member of the PBA, Central in Wayne, others. There's even a church in State College that's part of Philadelphia Baptist. Again, don't try to make sense of it. Not all of the churches in the PBA are part of AWAB, the Welcoming and Affirming Baptists. But there is within the association an underlying commitment to Baptist principles and respect for varying beliefs that doesn't exist in our current region. I spoke of my ordination council earlier, and that was a PBA ordination council. Reed Trulson had the opportunity recently to attend the installation of Pastor Q as executive minister, and he reported to us that it was a wonderfully diverse worship experience that included participation from churches that were African American, Spanish speaking, Portuguese, Burmese, and more. I share all of this with you. We brought the whiteboard out today and everything because I believe it's important for all of us, not just our leadership council or those with special knowledge of church bureaucracy, but for all of us to understand the ways that we as a church community exist in relationship to others. Most of you will probably never have any real interaction at the regional level. That's okay. It's not going to affect your church membership, but we need to know that how we choose to affiliate in these ways challenges us, strengthens us as a community. How we come to the table alongside others who look and think and act and believe and worship the way we do and in different ways. How does that affect who we are and how our witness is in the world? So I invite you to please make every effort to join us next week in worship. We are still in the discernment process. There is no decision that has been made or will be made next week. It is an ongoing discussion. But please join us, or if you can't join us virtually or watch the live stream later. And join us also in prayer for this time of discernment. And as always, if you have any questions about this, please reach out to me or another member of Leadership Council, and do join us in warmly welcoming Pastor Q next week. And so as we consider our relationships to our fellow Christians and to one another, as we mull over these associations and affiliations and regions and denominations, I invite you to stand in body and spirit as we sing, "Bind Us Together."